Hi, my name is Jay Travis, and first of all, I just want to thank you all for giving us the opportunity to work with United Way. The past 2 weeks, we've been really coming up with some creative commercials, and we can't wait to share them with you. So first, I want to start you off with this commercial. It's called The Circle of United Way, and it's supposed to portray that United Way has continuity, and will also, at different times throughout the commercial, let us as teens relate to the main character. So we start off in a kind of beaten down, rough part of town, and a little boy named Johnny. Johnny, like the town, is beaten up, he has no support, and most importantly, he has no hope. Through United Way and programs like Big Brothers and Sisters, Johnny now has a mentor. This mentor hangs out with him, he takes him to the park, really does fun activities with him, and lets Johnny kind of grow up and have a normal childhood experience. Now Johnny's a teenager in this part, and he's starting to give back to the community like was given to him. He's helping build houses along with some other United Way members. And then we go to Johnny as an adult. And Johnny as an adult is the same character, not the same character, but does the same thing as the mentor right here when he gave back to Johnny. So now Johnny is starting over with a little girl named Maria. And then he does the same things with Maria like was done with Johnny. And then hopefully the cycle continues, where Maria will then become the next Johnny, and they'll keep cycling through. And then the end is the United Way slogan and a little tagline with it. Any questions or anything?
How long do you think this whole spot would be?
You could do about a minute. It depends on how much detail you want to go into. If you want to really show detail, like excerpts him at a park or something, or really give detail about Johnny and about his locations. It kind of depends. You could probably rush it into a 30-second commercial if you'd like, but I'd say a minute is probably the best option.
Any music or narration?
The narration will come in when Johnny is introduced, or maybe the setting takes place, and then when Johnny is an adult, say, this is Johnny as an adult at age blah, blah, blah. And then the narration at the United Way part.
So, in your opinion, this will connect with teens primarily in that middle phase?
Yes, when the teens are starting to give back, and then as us, our age, we can realize it's about time for us to start giving back as well.
And what sort of media are you seeing on this? Television?
Television.
Okay. Any other questions?
Okay. Thank you very much.
I think we're good. Thank you.
My name is Jimmy McHugh, and now this idea kind of takes in a different direction. The main purpose of this storyboard is to show that, $1 goes very far, that United Way reaches out to more than just one corporation or community, that it spreads all around. So what we're going to start with is the opening scene is going to be a teenager with $1 in his hand, and he's going over to put the dollar in a United Way donation box. Now, all suddenly, it breaks into 100 pennies. And then the pennies start rolling one by one to scenes of organizations that generally help out teenagers, and go to scenes of those, and the penny crosses as if it's representing that the pennies are going towards helping these organizations. Showing you that $1 in the end goes very far. Now, how we're going to do this is we're going to go scene by scene, one penny going to this company, one penny going to this organization, and then at the end, all the pennies are going to bring back together into that $1 in his hand, and he's going to realize, wow, this dollar goes very far. So then he realizes how powerful this organization, United Way, is. And at the end, the slogan is going to be, there's power in every dollar. It's going across the screen, and then the United Way logo. Now, music-wise, I was thinking more instrumental, upbeat instrumentals, as the pennies are kind of going all over to different organizations. It's more of a happy, upbeat, not like a sad, downing thing, because this is kind of fun, that how helpful United Way can be. So that was the idea with that. Time-wise, We were going for maybe like 45 seconds. It really is all relative and flexible on what you guys want to do. That's why we put this slide here, add here, because you can put as many organizations in this as you'd like to. You can put the length of each scene at the organization at work as long as you'd like to. So it all really is up to what you guys want to accomplish on how much awareness you guys want to spread on how much you guys do for the teenage age group. So, do you have any questions?
The only question I have is around like production. You know, I don't really know how a lot of that stuff works, but like, do you have any idea of how expensive it would be to put something like that together with the pennies? And I would imagine there's some technology that you would have to use to pull that off. Is that a dumb question?
You know, there are several ways you can approach that. I'm sure you can do some elaborate, expensive computer CGI kind of thing, computer generated. But also you could do something simple and low budget, such as, you know, you could do a screenshot of the actual building of Youth in Need, for example, and you see that their title, you know, in front of the building, and you can just have a penny kind of like being thrown at it, something of that sort. or rolled. I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can do that, but that's where there's a lot of interpretation on how you can approach that and execute that.
So obviously you and your team did some research on United Way agencies.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any, and this is again just opinion of asking for your opinion, are there certain ones when you were looking at it surprised you, caught you, connected with you? I mean, obviously there are some groups that might have more of a connection with teens than others. Is that something you think we need to focus on in terms of finding those groups that either have a wow factor or have a connection to, you know, teens as being groups that either you or your friends might actually have heard of or know someone that might have some involvement with them?
Personally, I think it's very powerful to actually, you know, shed a light on a variety of different ones, not just one type of, you know, just boys and girls, youth in need, but, you know, the violence prevention one, showing the difference of, you know, the vast variety of organizations that you guys do support. I think that really expresses the, you know, the type of fields that you guys cross over, and it'll really increase the awareness. You know, showing you this is more than just a one-dimensional organization that just gives to one type of organization. Nothing is, you know, nothing blocks you guys from really reaching over to different fields. So,
okay, great, thank you.
So I'm Claire Stanley, and one of the ideas that I worked on is the United Way 1 and 3. Something that we really wanted to touch on with this is commonality. Because you said that United Way helps 1 in 3 people. And for teenagers, a lot of people think, oh, it would never happen to me, I'd never need that help. And the point of this is to really connect with that. So we start off with very basic things, like 1 in 3 ice cream cones sold are vanilla. Something just happy, random, and it keeps going like that. Like 1 in 3 potatoes sold are French fried, 1 in 3 women in the U.S. color their hair. And then it starts to go up a bit. 1 in 3 women lie about their weight. 1 in 3 people don't wear their seatbelts. 1 in 3 8th graders have tried alcohol. 1 in 3 people will be arrested by age 23. And it just keeps escalating until you see that all these problems are as common as a vanilla ice cream cone. So 1 in 3 U.S. teens is a victim of sexual, physical, emotional, or verbal abuse. And only 1 in 3 teens in an abusive relationship actually tell someone about it. And then after it has gone through the escalation, it'll go to 1 in 3 people are helped by United Way. Then it goes help isn't as rare as you think. And it goes down to just showing information about United Way, saying help us spread awareness by maybe using a hashtag on Twitter or looking up their Facebook or going to the website. But the main point of this is just to connect with teenagers through the commonality of it. So do you have any questions about that?
I like this kind of statistic approach, the 1 in 3, and then also at the end, the call to action. I think that's, I've not seen that in any of these yet, but I do like that. But were you thinking of, you know, like a narration, or is it just going to kind of be music in the background?
I would say maybe just music, and I don't know if you can see from where you're sitting, but the 1 in 3 is in a different color. So that would stay up on the screen, and the statistics would fade away and come in. So the actual 1 in 3 stays throughout it, and it just fades in and out. So you keep seeing that through the whole thing.
In what media are you seeing this reaching out to teenagers? Is this a TV spot? Is this a YouTube spot? Is it something else?
I would see this as TV,
Okay.
just because it gets it across really quickly.
Let me ask you this, and I may be butchering the study that I'm thinking of, but I recall reading somewhere with ads that, and again, I don't know the demographic, but if something is written and, you know, maybe has some color enhancements, people are more apt to actually read it rather than someone talking or maybe something of that effect. In your either opinion or based on what you've seen with other teens and studies or whatever, is that hold true? I.e., you know, if we just have background music and we're having the words on the screen, is that something that you guys are more apt to read, or is it sort of like a foreign film where if you have to read it, you don't want to watch the movie?
I mean, for me personally, if it's a commercial and it's words, then that would get me to read it, especially if the music in the background is a little more sad and, you know, you're like, oh, what is this about? I can't speak for everyone, but for me personally, yeah, I would read it more likely.
Anybody else? Any other thoughts? Sure.
I think it makes it a little more powerful because it's like, it's on your terms whether you pay attention or not, and if you do, then it's like, I need to tell people about this because not everyone's going to read it. You may need to.
Okay.
I personally would actually rather hear it through a narration, because I could, usually when commercials go on, I kind of start to zone out a little bit because I'm not very interested in them. But if I hear interesting statistics through my ear when I'm texting on my phone or something, I'm more likely to look up rather than just hear music and miss every text that goes by.
Jim,
If I had to make a suggestion, I personally find the most effective commercials are the ones where there's no music and it's just text and possibly a picture behind it. At that point, I'm most compelled to read it, and there's something about the silence of it that makes it more sentimental.
Makes it uncommon because everything else maybe
Yeah.
has music or
It's
something.
all loud and just kind of lulled down.
Is music, you think, intricate to this, or could we do without music?
I actually do like that idea, and maybe if you want to keep most of it silent and then have something come in at the end. But I like that idea, but music can also go with it. Fine.
Okay. I know you may not have timed it, but any thoughts on how long you think this spot would be?
Depending on how fast you want the things to go through, I think you can fit it into a 30-second.
Okay. Okay. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
You need a projector on Liz?
But not until like,
Oh, not right now.
yeah.
Okay, never mind.
I'm Liz Rendell, and the idea that I was working with was the Draw My Life tag, which is very popular on YouTube right now with like the youth and like famous people on YouTube. Basically, it's like it can be however long you want, and people just tell their story, like by like drawing it on a whiteboard or a piece of paper, and they just record the whole thing. But basically, my idea was to do Draw My Story for someone that's been touched by United Way. Like, I used the example of the video you guys showed when you came to me last time about the lady that was pregnant and then she got cancer. And like, this is basically going through her just drawing all these things. And even if it's like not that great of a drawing, it doesn't matter because it's the story that matters. And so basically, like, this is all what happened to her. This is how United Way helped her. And at the end, we show an actual picture of the person and their name. Like, I am, like, say her name is Susan. I am Susan. This is my story. And, like, have a big thing where you can share the story or tell your own story. And I figured for this one, it'd be more focused on YouTube since it's longer. But like, if you wanted to do a short of it as a commercial, like, see the rest of their story here. Like, that would be a good way to portray that. And the other half of it was a celebrity story. Basically, for this one we used Demi Lovato. Starting out, like, their voice is disguised or it's even just a different person's voice. And they're telling the story of how, like, it can happen to anyone. And at the end, they show their face and their voice, and this can happen to anyone. And United Way can help with this. So.
Who is that? I'm sorry.
Demi Lovato, sorry.
Yeah.
She's a pop singer. She recently like went through like rehab and stuff for like emotional issues that she struggled with for years, and she's like getting it out there, like.
I know who she is.
So.
Okay. So these would be alternatives, or you're thinking of two proposals? One, very personalized, and if we can identify someone who has some notoriety with a connection to the United Way doing both of them?
Yes.
Okay. But this concept is the same, the Draw My, that's what it's actually called?
Draw My Life, yeah.
Draw My Life, okay.
Yeah, and then I did have an example.
Turn the projector on there.
Yeah, that'd be great.
See the power button?
Yeah, one time.
Is your light on there? Yeah. Alright, we're good.
I won't show you the whole thing because it's like 7 minutes long, so.
Hey guys, so today I'm going to be doing the Draw My Life video, which is basically me drawing my life. Really crappy because I am not an artist. I thought it would be really cool if I share with you guys my story, so let's get started. So my name is Joseph Michael Graceffa, and I was born May 16th, 1991. And I remember I hated my name growing up. I think I had my parents call me Cody for a week, but I hate it, so I made them call me Joey again. When I was brought into this world, my family consisted of my dad, my mom, and my sister Nicole, who is 5 years older than me. And then, of course, me. When I was really young, my parents got divorced, so it didn't really affect me because I didn't really know of anything else. So it was just me, my mom, and my sister for the majority of the beginning of my life, and my mom was the most loving mother I could ask for. I remember she would put me on her hip and we'd dance around the living room listening to music. I was such a mama's boy. Like, whenever my mom would go out at night and she wouldn't come home till late, the babysitter would have to give me her picture for me to be able to fall asleep. So, yep, mama's boy alert. Me, my sister, and my mom lived in a really old apartment complex growing up, and some paint chips had fallen off the window and got on my toys, and me, being the child I was, decided to eat the chips, and it gave me lead paint poisoning, which ended up causing me to have a learning disability, and I spent through most of my schooling in special education classes. I lived with just my mom and my sister for a few years, and I just looked up to Miss her so much. She was my role model, and she was the coolest person ever, and I want to be just like her. So I would do things that she would do, like wear dresses and play with dolls, but this ended up getting me teased a lot by my cousins, and they'd call me Josephina, which really hurt my feelings. I also had a pretty tough time at school. I mostly only hung out with girls because it's where I felt most comfortable, and a lot of the guys would make fun of me and call me gay or faggot or call me a girl. And this made it really hard for me to be able to make friends with guys for most of my life because I just figured that they were all mean. When I was 5 years old, my mom met my stepdad Bob, who I actually called the Chinese man because he would always bring over Chinese food for dinner, even though he wasn't Chinese.
Question: why, like, what do you think about the drawing part that relates better to teens? I mean, obviously you chose that because you felt that way. Is it?
Well, I think it just like, it kind of breaks down the barrier a little bit because it's like lighthearted a little bit, and it's just like a cool way to show, like, you know, like your story in an interesting way, I guess, and that, like, even if it's not a good drawing, it's like, it's still kind of a cool concept. So
Let me ask you this. So this one looks like it's 7 minutes long.
yeah.
Do you have a target of how long you think something like this would capture the attention of someone who's
I mean,
watching it?
I wouldn't want to make it too long because, like, some of the longer ones, like, there's ones on here that are like 11 minutes long, which I have struggled to watch the whole thing.
Sure.
But, like, if we could do it in, like, ideally, like, 5 minutes most, probably would be a good plan, because then, like, it's long, but, like, not incredibly long, so.
And so let me ask you: is there a YouTube channel that is dedicated to this, or do you just hear word of mouth that someone has one up? How do you start, or do you just type in "Draw My Life" and track stuff down?
You can just type in Draw My Life, but then, like, all the different channels, like, for different people, they usually, like, promote it themselves or be like, hey, I just did a Draw My Life video, and, like, they'll hashtag it on, like, Twitter or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you seen the United Way video, the helping people?
Yeah.
Where they actually draw?
Yeah, that's kind of what sparked the idea.
That's great.
So, yeah.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Good. Is that Brian go next? Is you? I'll just, Brian's got one idea.
Oh, not bad.
And then we'll go from there.
Okay.
My name is Ryan, and essentially what our idea was is sort of a satire of what you would see in your stereotypical viral or non-profit video on the internet. So essentially it was directed towards YouTube. And then the idea is to sort of poke fun at the type of commercials you would typically see, but in no way show United Way it would show United Way in a serious manner, but the humor comes from the videos that it's representing. So it starts off with a kitten being tickled, drawing attention, sort of like what you would see in a lot of internet videos, a lot of cats on the internet. And then it zooms out, and you have an attractive female holding the cat, and she's representing like a popular celebrity that you would see. Sort of like how in commercials you see like celebrities endorsing people, and then she narrates the commercial, and then it shows an image of people building a house or painting a fence, and then here she's talking about United Way, what they do, and we go into some animations of something like maybe something being taken away, like a home, or you have in this one a close-up of like an animated person, they're crying, and the humor sort of comes from that the visuals are really over the top, but at the same time she's conveying the message about United Way, saying how they help people or what they do. And then in this image, the house is finished, and the workers are happy. But then in the next one, you have all this sort of negative images come up: poverty, adversity, loss. And then here, big old explosion comes up, and then in the last frame, everyone working on the house sort of erupts into a sort of popular pop culture dance that you might see, like the Gangnam Style videos on YouTube. The idea is to sort of have it really fast-paced and over-the-top, trying to bring as much elements that you see in viral videos, bring them in together as quickly and in a humorous manner as much as you can. So the time frame would be 30 or so seconds. And then in terms of music, you would have like a kind of cheesy, like typical like piano, sad music that you would hear sort of in these with the celebrity talking. And then in here, it would be more ominous when all this pops up. And then in the end, it sort of just erupts.
I like how you're capturing the audience up front because it's something different. Let me, and I may have missed a little bit, the connection from your slide of the house being finished and then the two slides with the what you call the ominous ones with the poverty, adversity, and loss and the explosion. How is that connected?
Because like when she's talking, she's saying, like right around here is when she's finished the narration, saying how United Way helps people or what they do, and then here it comes up, and then all this examples appear on the screen of what she was talking about, and then in the final frame she would say, oh, but with United Way, or what United Way does is they like remove all this stuff, or they can fix that, and then an explosion comes in.
Got it.
Well, so I'm having a hard time going from the poverty and loss to the dance. You know, like I know you said it's a satire, but like I don't know. To me, it's kind of jumping around. You know, when you have she's tickling the cat, and then they're painting a house. You know, then there's an explosion. It's just I don't know. Unless my imagination is not doing it justice, it's just kind of choppy, you know?
The idea is for it to sort of be kind of just jam-packed into one commercial, so that it has all these elements from all these other videos compressed in a way that you see, oh, this is showing, it's poking fun at all these other videos that you see where because it has all the elements kind of jammed into one in a fast-paced manner.
And I think if you intermix all of these, then it makes the house being taken away some of the challenges, then I think it works. So, in terms of media, you're talking, since we're having, addressing videos that are on the internet, you're seeing this as a YouTube type video? Okay.
So, and then so I'm familiar with the Gangnam Style video, but the other ones, like how would you choose which ones to satirize?
Like for example, in the commercials where you have like it'll be like an animal shelter and like the Sarah McLachlan song is playing. That's sort of kind of what we're getting at up here with the woman holding the cat, and then like your typical YouTube video with the cat is what you see at the beginning, and then at the end you kind of have the Gangnam Style thing.
Okay. And then in the first three, those are going to be live action, if you will, and then the three in the middle and the two on the bottom third line, those could be animation, or will be animation?
Yes.
Okay. Great. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Ben. I work with a group, and this is one of the few ideas we came up with. This one is designed to be a YouTube video, but it could be aired on television. The whole idea behind it is that you immediately attach a plot to it. So if it's a 30-second, 1-minute video, then the first 5 seconds, which are kind of the range before you can skip a video, you're sucking in the audience. And it's kind of a metaphor for what United Way does. The idea is that you would have these big, strong, or skinny thugs, or possibly monsters that represent the different challenges that the organizations under United Way face or sort of take down. So you'd have hunger, abuse, or addiction, and they sort of have tied up these organizations like Aid for the Abused or Help for the Addicts. And on the chains, you could possibly have something like monetary problems or just the different issues that some organizations have that United Way helps them with. And possibly with a narration or the dialogue of the characters involved, you'd be conveying the idea that these organizations are ready to take down these problems, but they're just having some issues getting off the ground. And then you see the United Way man kind of sweep in, break the chains, and allows the organizations to do what they do and sort of take down hunger, abuse, or addiction in their respective cause. Now there are 2 approaches we toyed with. We thought about making it sort of a serious, grave plot, kind of like a Batman, Superman-esque, with ominous music. But we also thought you could make it a little bit lighter, and I'm going to show you a video as kind of an example. You could try and make it sort of cheesy. Have you guys seen the Minnesota Timberwolves Now Now style, or whatever it's called?
You just turned it on.
Well, they kind of, here, I'll pull it up. It's very hard to describe.
Did you want to turn it back on?
Yeah, hit power button.
I hit it again.
Just hit it one time.
Just look in the projector to see light.
No. Wait,
Just
wait.
Okay.
I'll pull it up first. It's coming.
Plenty of room to swing around, plenty of high and
Not bad.
Are you pressing the power button?
There's light.
You look good, man.
So basically, the idea behind this is you would kind of have a grave, maybe lighthearted situation, and at the end you kind of have a obscene but humorous beatdown by the organizations of the different challenges like hunger and stuff. So you could add some comedy in it, but you would want to be careful that it's not too vulgar or not too aggressive. Let's see if we can.
plenty of room to swing around, plenty of high and plenty of low.
All right. Let's see.
It's the end.
There you go.
My honey lemonade. Sing
All right. So here's the video.
Con los terroristas.
You have to think of this as like help your addiction or abuse. So, I mean, you can add humor in it. You just kind of have sort of an obscene, like over the top beat down, or you can kind of have a gracious swoop in and take down. Those are just two different variations.
So you see this as a live action type
Yeah.
spot? Okay.
So, let's see. So, what we have here, we did a little different than these. This is just a PowerPoint showing you.
Use the clicker if you want.
So this one, it's a lot like other ones you've seen. There would be no narration, just music, and you would see someone in a wheelchair, challenged by stairs. Not really any foreseeable way around it. Devastation by a natural effect like a tornado here, or just poverty. And then you would see, the slogan in every way. People are finding new hope and receiving aid from United Way. Where there's a will, there's a way, a united way. And then you see this, and you move to the effects and the things that United Way does, what these people need. And then just sort of an image like that, where the people who need, who are reaching out, are receiving that help and that helping hand from United Way. That one is actually much like other commercials I'm sure you've seen.
And would that be still shots?
Yes.
Okay.
Now this one is another take on humor. My group took a special focus on humor because we thought teens generally not only appreciate humor, but it really grasps their attention. And talking to much of my friends and the people in school, even though you may not be sold on the product of a company, if they have a funny commercial, you start to respect the organization, and there's just something about it that gets you more inclined to participate in whatever they do, maybe asking you to do. So this one should really grab the eyes of teens. You're going to start out, and really, with these first few images, you're going to see people, partying in a car, and then they go to Schnucks, and they come out with some ominous brown bag, and you're thinking, whoa, is that alcohol? And you keep going, and this should really be grabbing the attention of kids, so what are they going to do? And so, teens are going to be drawn in, they're going to be like, wow, what is this? And then you see all these things they were grabbing in preparation for donation and helping out at maybe a food shelter. And so they run in, it's high energy, there's popular music playing, and they're basically just making helping United Way seem like a really fun thing to do. And so, maybe you have some kind of like Usher or Pitbull playing in the background, something these kids hear on Z107.7. And it's basically just, there's a fun twist, it's kind of a comical twist, but at the same time it's conveying the idea that you can have a lot of fun helping people and to give teens even more reason to help them. Just once again, people like you are helping United Way make an impact for you. Sort of a call to action, a little work on guilt, but still gets the job done. And that's all we've got for you. If you have any questions for anyone here, we'd love to answer them. But thank you guys for coming out and giving us this opportunity to give you some ideas.
Let me ask you a couple questions on the presentations. So the still shots, I assume we'd have some sort of appropriate music in the background. This is the inspirational one.
Yeah.
Okay.
We thought for music, you don't want to you don't want to go the generic route, kind of like the Sarah McLaughlin. You want to keep it more inspirational and on the up and up. But when you see the break between the problems and the solutions, you would want to twist it and just sort of from depressing to inspirational.
And then on the fun one, or the humorous, let me put it that way. Do you see that as also still shots or more live action?
I see that one as live action.
Okay.
Just because you can really grasp the energy.
Will that be a YouTube, or are you seeing that as a television? Where would you see this and be more interested in seeing it then?
You know, ideally, I think it would go on television, but I think it would work great on YouTube too.
Any questions?
No.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll go first, just in general. I think these are all really good ideas. I like the concept. I think you hit on the things we wanted, which was try to keep it short, grab the attention as quickly as possible, because that's one of the challenges obviously we have with the traditional video. You know, it's too long, stories are compelling. I think last time, you know, many of you said you did have an emotional connection to the story, but they're obviously too long. So trying to hit them short and get to the point is helpful. The different themes that you all hit on, I thought was good. You know, either you know, the Circle of the United Way, or you know, taglines. You know, the 1 and 3, or helping people. I think those were all very good, sort of direct, discrete points that you could hit on to try to capture attention. I think the challenge that we have from our perspective is trying to figure out how most effectively to capture the attention, do it in a very short amount of time, and the medium in which it helps. I think the challenge we have with TV, as probably most of you, if you're on a DVR and you're watching the show, you're going to skip right through it. So I think YouTube, from a cost perspective for us, makes sense, but it's just a matter of trying to get that message out rather than just posting it, whether that's a Twitter campaign or something else. But I think all of these, for the most part, you all said that we could potentially either it's already intended for YouTube, or we can transition it to YouTube. So I think that's very helpful for us. Any comments, man?
Yeah, I definitely like the kind of the over-the-top funny ideas. You know, I'm picturing in my mind, okay, if somebody posted on my Facebook the video that we showed you guys the last time we were here, I might watch, you know, a couple minutes of it, but the funny, over-the-top, viral style videos, I think will be much more effective and having people seek them out and want to, you know, we have to be careful a little bit, as, you know, to not kind of make a mockery of United Way, but if we can tastefully kind of have that humor, shock aspect, I think that's something that will definitely fill a void that, you know, exists today. So you guys did a great job. Didn't see any bad ideas up there. And we're gonna definitely, we are excited to report back and see what our cabinet thinks as well.
And to Matt's point, that's sort of our process. We're going to take these back, talk to our cabinet, run them through the ideas. Mr. Bunn, to the extent that you could send an email with some of the multimedia options, like the sample videos, I think those would be helpful for us to kind of give them the full picture of sort of how these are actualized, or at least examples of where we could go with it. And then, you know, you guys are short on time this year, but we will try to get you back some additional feedback on thoughts and things that we may try to run with. But I think this gets us exactly where we want to go. You know, Matt and I were talking, we had no idea of the Draw My Life thing at all, but that's kind of neat, especially if it captures, you know, you and your other friends' attention. You know, that's something that we'll explore as well. So I appreciate the time you guys put into it and the research. This is exactly where we need, sort of finding things that make sense, that are going to capture your attention in a short amount of time, and at the end of the day, hopefully get folks who haven't worked on this project get where you are, where I think you all have a better understanding of United Way and sort of what we do. So, thank you.
Thank you.
We've got about 6 minutes left, so I guess we can chill. Random, how would